2 of remote drama. So we are going to begin by warming up our actor tools. So remember, our first actor tool is our bodies. We use our bodies when we're acting. So I want you to stand up, find a space where you have a little bit of room to move, and we are going to warm up our bodies using a warm-up that most of you have done with me before. It's called energy, energy. So I'm going to say energy, energy, and I'm going to shake a different part of my body, and then you're going to repeat it, and then we're going to move on to a different part of our body until we kind of feel all warmed up. Okay, here we go. Energy, energy in my hands. Energy, energy in my fingers. Energy, energy in my elbows. Energy, energy in my shoulders. Energy, energy in my arms. Energy, energy in my legs. Energy in my tongue. Energy, energy in my ears. Energy, energy in my hair. Energy, energy in my toes. Energy, energy in my whole body. And stop. All right, good. Hopefully you feel warmed up. I know I do. We're going to warm up our next actor tool, and that is our voice. Our voice we use when we're acting, and this is a warm-up called tongue twister, and actors often use tongue twisters to warm up their voices. If you ever went backstage before a show where there were actors acting, then you might hear them saying some of these tongue twisters just to warm up their voice. So actors really work on what's called diction. Diction is like speaking every word clearly so the audience can hear you and understand you. And so I'm going to teach you 3 different tongue twisters today. They seem simple, but when you try and say them over and over, you get your tongue twisted, which is why it's called the tongue twister. It kind of means it's hard to say. And if you mess up, it's okay. Just try it again. So we're going to try the first one. I'm going to say it slowly, and then you're going to repeat it. Unique New York. Did you do it? Could you say it? Okay, now the trick is to see how many times you can say unique New York without messing up. Now some people like to say tongue twisters really, really fast. You can try that too if you want, but right now your focus just should be on, can you say the words clearly without stumbling over your words? And if you stumble, it happens to all of us, just start over again and start counting again. Okay, so I'm going to try it. I'm going to see if I can do it 5 times. Maybe you can do it that many, maybe you can do it more. Unique. See, I already messed up. It's harder than it looks. Okay, here we go. I got to focus and concentrate. Unique New York. Unique New York. Unique New York. See, I messed up. So that's how you do it. You can try it with me, or you can pause and see how many you can do. Maybe you can email me and let me know what your record is, and maybe I can give a prize to whoever has the most and can show me that you can do it that many times. Maybe you videotape it, or maybe we get on Zoom or Google Meets and you show me how many times, and maybe whoever does that can win some kind of prize, maybe a Starbucks card, I don't know. We could negotiate if that's you who can do it the most times. All right, so I'm gonna try it one more time, see if I can do 5. Unique New York, unique New York, unique New York, unique New York, unique New York. Okay, the record is 5. See if you can beat 5. All right, and the second one, this is a really famous actor one. You maybe have heard it, and you maybe have heard actors do this one before. If you've ever been in a play, maybe you've done this tongue twister before too. It's red leather, yellow leather. Red leather, yellow leather. Okay, same thing. I'm going to see if I can do it 5 times. See if you can beat me. See how many times you can do it. Red leather, yellow leather. 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 Okay, 5 doesn't sound too hard to beat 5. I probably could do more, but I don't want to bore you with just saying the tongue twisters over and over again. All right, this one is really hard. I don't even know if I can do this one 5, but I'm going to try. This one is Irish wristwatch. Okay, repeat that. It's hard, isn't it? That one really, for some reason, trips up my tongue. I have to do this one kind of slowly and sort of act it out, like you saw how I did that. That helped me to kind of think of what the word was. If that helps you to do some kind of movement, for all means, add a little movement to it. I once took an acting class on voice, and my instructor said, I am always doing this with my head when I do tongue twisters. I think I'm just trying to focus on what to say, and my head starts going. So I kind of have that bad habit. You might have already noticed, or you might now notice that when I'm doing the tongue twisters, I kind of nod my head. All right, so I'm going to try Irish wristwatch 5 times. Okay, here I go. Irish wristwatch. Irish, see, I already messed up. Let me try one more time. Irish wristwatch. Irish wristwatch. Irish wristwatch. Irish wristwatch. Irish wristwatch. I think I did it. Okay, so that one is 5 to beat as well. All right, so we can have a little competition if you are interested, but you got to practice, see how many you can do. Okay, so I think our voices are all warmed up doing those tongue twisters, and we are going to warm up our imaginations, and as we warm up our imaginations, we are actually going to do the drama activity for the week. So, there we go. Get to the right spot. All right, so this week we are going to act out a trial. A trial is like a court case, and we're going to act out a trial. You might notice I have all kinds of props and costume pieces here because I am going to play a ton of characters today. If we were really doing this in class, I would have each one of you come up and be a different character, but since right now I'm all by myself, I'm going to do all the characters myself. So please bear with me, and hopefully it doesn't get too confusing. I'm going to try and have like a costume piece or a puppet or a doll to play each one of the different characters with me. So we are going to base it on the story Goldilocks and the 3 Bears. Now don't worry, just like I told you last week, I know that that's a story that you heard when you were a lot younger, but we're going to take a different take on it, so we're not going to just act out the story like you maybe would have done when you were younger, or like I'm doing with the younger students, but we are going to do a trial, and we're going to pretend that Goldilocks got arrested and she has to go to court. And so I'm going to read you a summary of Goldilocks and the 3 Bears, just because it might be a while since you heard the story, and just so it's kind of fresh in your mind, okay? So here is just a summary, just a quick short summary of Goldilocks and the 3 Bears. I'm just going to read it. Goldilocks wanders far from her home and stumbles upon the house of the 3 Bears. First, she tastes their porridge. Next, sits in their chairs, and finally sleeps in their beds. The 3 Bears return home and find their porridge eaten, their chairs sat in, Baby Bear's chair is broken, and their beds slept in. And they find Goldilocks asleep in Baby Bear's bed. She is frightened by the bears and runs home. Okay, so remember, you're going to pretend that Goldilocks is on trial, and I want you right now to use your imagination, and I want you to decide, do you think that Goldilocks is guilty, or do you think she's innocent? Now, it doesn't have to be what you really believe. You could kind of act and pretend that you think something different, but you're going to take one side or the other. Either she's guilty or she is not guilty of breaking and entering. So what I'm going to do is I am going to act out the trial, and then your job for this week is going to be to come up with a character that could be in the trial. Now, you might be the acting type and you might want to perform like I'm going to, or you might just want to write. Maybe you're a writer, more like a playwright, and you just want to write out a monologue of one of the characters. Maybe you want to do both. Maybe you want to write the monologue and then perform it. Okay, so for me, I just wrote down some notes of characters, and I'm just going to kind of improv. Improv means I'm going to make up what I'm going to say. I have an idea of what I'm going to say, but I don't have all the lines written out exactly. So you are welcome to do that. You're also welcome to use any of the characters that I used today, or even better, come up with your own character. Okay, so I think once you watch it, it'll kind of make more sense, and then when I'm done acting out the trial, then we'll come back and we'll discuss what you're going to do for your own assignment for drama this week. Okay, so you're going to see me putting on different costume pieces, grabbing puppets and dolls. So sometimes the transitions between might take a few extra seconds, so just bear with me. And just imagine that this is a courtroom. I'm going to begin with glasses, and I'm going to pretend that I am the judge. Okay? And action.
This is the case of the state versus Goldilocks. She is accused of breaking and entering, destruction of property, and fleeing the scene of a crime. Are there any opening statements?
Your Honor, we will show that on the morning of April 21st, while the Bear family was walking in the forest, Goldilocks broke into their home, proceeded to eat their porridge, and broke Baby Bear's chair. She then went upstairs and was found asleep in Baby Bear's bed. When the Bear family confronted her, she fled the scene. Through our evidence and witness testimony, we will show that Goldilocks knowingly and willfully committed all 3 crimes. Thank you, Your Honor.
Does the attorney for Goldilocks have an opening statement?
Your Honor, these charges against Goldilocks are preposterous. We will show that the Bears actually invited Goldilocks into their home and that she was merely a guest. And I must admit, a terrible one. And certainly is she not guilty of committing any of these crimes.
Very well. Prosecution, you may call your first witness. Mama Bear, please raise your right paw. Do you swear that the testimony you are about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please be seated.
Please state your name. Yes, I am Mama Bear. Not many people know this, but my real name is Petunia. Petunia, please tell the court what you witnessed on the day of the incident. When we came home from our walk, the TV was on. We never watched TV. Our porridge was eaten. Baby Bear's was even all gone. A chair was smashed to bits, and my clothes were all over the floor. Goldilocks trashed our beautiful cottage. How do you know that it was Goldilocks? Well, we found Goldilocks asleep in Baby Bear's bed. She was even wearing my wedding gown. And did you make a police report? Yes, only since we live in the woods, the fire department could get there faster than the police department. Very well. Thank you, Mama Bear, and I'm sorry for your upsetting experience. My next witness, I would like to call Baby Bear. Baby Bear, could you tell us in your own words what happened? Well, Goldilocks ate all of my porridge, and she woke my tail, and she slept in my bed, and I don't like it. As you can see, this has been very traumatizing for poor little Baby Bear, and I will not upset Baby Bear emotionally anymore. You may be seated, Baby Bear, with your mama. My next witness is Joanne Jones, real estate agent. Hi, yes, I am Joanne Jones, and I was selling the cottage next door, and I was getting the cottage all ready for my showing and putting the for sale sign. It's, a beautiful cottage, a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, all new furnishings, a lovely kitchen. Anyway, sorry, but call me if you'd like to see the cottage. Yes, please continue with your testimony. Oh, right. So anyway, it just seemed unusual because I was trying to get the for sale sign in the house next door, and all of a sudden I see this little girl rush inside, and I knew the 3 bears lived there. I had just seen them 5 minutes before going on a walk. They told me their porridge was too hot and they were going to take a short little stroll and come back in about 5 minutes. And I should have investigated further, but I had so many things to do to get ready for my showing that I didn't have time. But I definitely saw this blonde girl, and I know it was Goldilocks, and she was in the house on that day. And thank you. Yes, our next is Agent Smith.
Yes, hello, I'm Agent Smith, and I'm the firefighter in the forest. And yes, I've been very busy this year with all the forest fires, but to some time out from my schedule because I feel so strongly about this case. Well, I took the police report, and it turns out that Goldilocks has broken into another house about a month ago and was given a warning. And so I think that is why we're all here today, because she has a prior record of breaking and entering. Yes, I took down the investigation. It's all here in my report. 73457, Goldilocks, guilty of breaking and entering and destruction of property. And yes, I definitely would say that she is guilty.
All right. Thank you. Next, we have Miss Gordman, and it is Goldilocks' second grade teacher. Hi, yes, hello. I'm Miss Gordman, and yes, I was Goldilocks' second grade teacher. She's in third grade now, thank goodness. I mean, yes, she had some great qualities. She was a very creative child, but she had 17 detentions in my class. She often had trouble following directions. She would not line up for recess. She would just keep playing. One day she was out there for like 3 hours, and we were all thinking, where's Goldilocks? And I looked out the window, and there she was, swinging away. She'd been there, like I said, 3 hours. This child, I don't doubt for a moment that it is true that Goldilocks, well, committed these crimes. Hopefully she can get on a behavior plan and she can get these problems worked out before she goes into the 4th grade. And thank you very much.
All right, and our last witness is Papa Bear. Oh yes, hello, I'm Papa Bear, and, well, I exhibited to the court cell phone pictures. I took a picture of Baby Bear's porridge being all gone. It's all right, Baby Bear. And I took a picture of our chairs being messed up and Baby Bear's rocking chair being broken. And, last but not least, I took a cell phone picture of the broken beds.
Thank you very much. And the prosecution rests. And I would like to give it over to the defense.
Yes, I'm here to prove that Goldilocks was invited by the Bears, and she actually has a sickness that makes her not aware, and she falls asleep and does not remember things. So first, Goldilocks.
Hi, I'm Goldilocks. Hi! I love ya. Oh, sorry. So, yeah, just like my lawyer was saying, like, I went to the doctor because I wasn't really feeling good, and he said I have this, like, illness that makes me forget things and might just fall up.
Excuse me, Goldilocks.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, you just sort of fall asleep and then you can't remember, where am I? Am I at school?
No, Goldilocks, you are in court.
Oh, yeah, whoops. Well, I didn't mean to, and I'm sorry, and the Bears are my friends.
But thank you, Goldilocks. I call Dr. Longneedle. Oh yes, I am Dr. Longneedle. What? There's nothing funny about my name? Well, anyway, yes, it is true that Goldilocks has a very rare sleeping disease, and that test results from her saliva and blood do show that she has the Narcofarlow syndrome, which is close to narcolepsy, except for she falls asleep in an instant and then cannot remember anything that has happened before. This is very rare and only occurs in 1 in 3 million patients, but yes, Goldilocks does have it, and I have the tests right here. I will submit them as evidence. Thank you, doctor. Yes, now I have Miss Stephanie from Google.
Hi. Oh, sorry. I've just been so busy with my Google email. But anyway, I have proof that the Bears sent Goldilocks an email inviting her. It was actually an evite, inviting her over to their house 3 weeks before. So this, to me, shows that Goldilocks knew the Bears, had an invite, and wasn't just breaking and entering into a random house. Excuse me, I have like 45 emails that I need to answer, so I gotta get going.
All right, thank you. And our final witness is Little Red Riding Hood.
Hi, I'm Little Red. Yeah, you can just call me Red for short. Well, so the thing is, Goldilocks couldn't have done this because on that same date, April 21st, well, Goldilocks, Cinderella, and I were like all at the mall. Yeah, we got pedicures, we got our nails done. I got this cute little purse. I know Strawberry Shortcake's gonna be so jealous, but yeah, she was at the mall with us, so she couldn't have been at the Bears' house eating porridge and breaking chairs and sleeping in beds and all that, because we were like at the mall like all day long since it opened at 10 a.m. and shopping. So there's no way that Goldilocks is guilty.
All right, thank you very much. Since there is no more evidence or no more witnesses, could each of the lawyers give a closing statement?
Your Honor, we have shown that Goldilocks is wonderful, kind, we have shown that Goldilocks, never being invited, broke into the Bears' home, stole their food, recklessly broke a chair, slept in their beds, and then, knowing she was guilty, fled the scene. Based on our evidence and witness testimony, the jury has no other choice but to find Goldilocks guilty of all the charges and put her in jail so she can no longer terrorize our community.
Your Honor, we have shown that Goldilocks is a wonderful and kind little girl. She has said that she meant no harm in going into the house and the door was open. There's also evidence that she was not even at the house. But if she was feeling weak from hunger, merely ate the porridge to feel better. She fully planned on reimbursing the Bears. She accidentally broke the chair and she is self-conscious. about that, and she's too embarrassed to admit it. She waited a long time for the bears to return so she could thank them for their hospitality when she fell asleep. She suffers from night terrors and only fled the scene in an unconscious, sleepwalking state. The jury clearly must find Goldilocks not guilty of all charges so that she may continue her good deeds in the community.
All right, thank you. We will take a brief recess, and the jury should come back and let us know if Goldilocks is indeed guilty or not guilty. And 10-minute recess. All right, so that was the court scene. And as you can see, if we had done this in class, I would have had somebody be the judge, I would have had somebody be Goldilocks, somebody be all the different witnesses. But since we can't be together, we are just going to have each one of you pretend that you are a witness. So I want you either to be on the prosecution side, that's the anti-Goldie side. You do not like Goldilocks, probably. You believe and trust in the bears. You think they're all telling the truth. And the witnesses I had on the prosecution were Mama Bear, Baby Bear, the real estate agent, the police officer, the teacher, and Papa Bear. So you could be any one of those characters. You can take a little bit different of a stance on it. You could go more in detail. Some of them I did really short. Or it could be a whole different witness, maybe another forest creature, maybe somebody who knows Goldilocks right now, maybe an enemy of Goldilocks, maybe another teacher, maybe her mom, her dad, any family members. But if you're on the prosecution side, you're trying to prove that Goldilocks is guilty. Okay, so you might want to write your monologue and or perform your monologue being on prosecution, thinking that Goldilocks is guilty. Or you might want to be on the defense side. That means you're for Goldilocks. You are trying to prove that Goldilocks is a great person. So again, you could be a teacher. You could be maybe a brother or sister, a parent, maybe her grandma, a teacher that really likes her. Maybe she's in ballet class and you're her ballet teacher. Maybe she's on swim team, you're her swim coach. But like character witnesses, and maybe you're a different doctor. Maybe you want to describe why this happened to Goldilocks. Okay, it's a little bit harder to be on this side because it's pretty obvious that she was guilty, but you can really use your imagination, create kind of a different way of thinking, and really use your thinking if you want to be on the defense side. Okay, so your assignment for the week is to come up with a character that would be in the trial and to write a speech. Now you can act it out like with a puppet, like I did, maybe a lawyer. I didn't have the lawyer asking too many questions in between just because I was so many characters, but the lawyer could be asking questions back and forth. Maybe you have somebody you could do this with, and they could be the lawyer and you could be the witness. Or you could do like I did, and you could just be different characters. Maybe you have a hat on when you're the lawyer, and you take it off when you're the witness, or have different costume pieces. But have fun with this assignment. I had fun being all these characters, and hopefully you had fun watching the Goldilocks court scene. So you have the rest of your drama time to kind of think of your monologue and to plan it out. I also have a video of a read aloud of a Goldilocks story. And this is an African Goldilocks story. And it is the same in some ways and different I think you will enjoy this Goldilocks story. So I'm going to put that on next, and you can also plan out either your written script for your witness monologue, or act it, or both. You can write out the whole monologue and then act it. So I'd love some of you to share these with me. I know some of you get shy about that, but I'd love to see some videos, so please keep that in mind if you would like to send me a video of your performance. I would love that. Okay, so you're going to still hear my voice, but you're not going to see me for a second because I'm going to get the camera ready to film the Goldilocks read aloud. All right, Alice got it. And here we go.
I'm going to be reading Leola and the Honey Bears, an African-American retelling of Goldilocks and the Three Bears by Melody Benson Rosales. Look, Grandmama, look! Leola sang out as she struggled to pull the biggest, wettest bedsheet from the laundry basket. Monday was always wash day, and much to her grandmother's surprise, Leola had decided to help hang out the sheets. Listen, child, just put that sheet down before you get it all full of dirt, fussed Leola's grandmother. Leola sighed, but I just wanted to help. I know, Sugar Pie, but I don't need any help right now, Grandmama replied. You go on and play now, but don't go straying off anywhere, and don't go talking to any strangers. Then she went back to her wash. When she looked up again, Leola was merrily dancing away, headed for the nearby meadow. You hear me, Leola? Grandma shouted after her. Mind me, and don't go straying off. Leola did hear her grandmother, but she paid her no mind. She didn't even answer her. Leola and her grandmother lived in a small, cozy cottage not far from the Pine Hollow woods. When Leola got her way, she could be as sweet as brown sugar. But when she didn't, she could be as stubborn as Grandmama's old mule. Today, Leola could find nothing fun to do. I'm bored, she complained, and I don't care what my grandmama says. I'm going to do what I want to. Suddenly, Leola caught sight of some milkweed seeds blowing in the breeze across the meadow. Ooh-wee, she squealed as she watched the silky pods float farther and farther from the cottage. Off she ran, chasing after them. After running for a while, Leola finally looked back. Nothing looked familiar, but Leola didn't care. She was having too much fun, following the cotton-like balls right into the Pine Hollow woods. But before she knew it, Leola was surrounded by prickly bushes and towering pine trees. The sunlight had all but disappeared. She turned around full circle, but she couldn't tell.
Okay, we're just gonna fast forward a little bit to save time.
I promise always to listen to my grandmama, no matter how much I want to do what I want to, Leola said. Just please let me find my way back home. Weary and confused, Leola plopped down on a damp patch of ground. Suddenly, the cool forest air filled with a warm, sweet smell. That must be my grandmama's crackling biscuits baking, said Leola. Now I know I can find my way. But before Leola could finish, old Mr. Weasel came slowly slinking by. Howdy, sweet little missy, he said in his oily voice. Old Mr. Weasel gave a sly smirk as he hungrily licked his lips. Leola quickly hopped to her feet at the sight of the stranger. Old Mr. Weasel laughed out loud. Now, child, I don't mean to scare you none. He slithered around this way and that way. I just wanted to eat you whole. With that, Leola took off running as fast as her feet could carry her, following the sweet smell that still filled the woods. Soon she came to a large clearing. As Leola wiped the sweat from her brow, she saw a little house in the distance. That must be a stranger's house, Leola thought to herself as she looked back over her shoulder for old Mr. Weasel. I know my grandmama told me about strangers, but I can't go back because old Mr. Weasel will eat me for sure. So Leola headed straight for the Honey Bear's Inn. She knocked on the heavy wooden door, but no one answered. The door was open just a little, so she poked her head in. Hello, Leola hollered. Excuse me, please. Are you folks in? Still no one answered. I know my grandmama said never go inside folks' houses until first being politely asked, but I don't think she'd mind this time. And she quietly crept inside. The first thing to catch Leola's eye were the tasty-looking treats sitting out on the kitchen counter. Ooh-wee, Leola squealed. I'm so hungry. I know my grandmama said, never help yourself in folks' kitchens until first being politely asked, but I don't think she'd mind this time. So Leola stuck her small finger into Papa Honeybear's great big plum pie and tasted it. Oh no, Leola cried as she puckered her lips. It was much too sour. Then she took a taste from Mama Honeybear's middle-sized rose petal cobbler. Oh no, it was much too sweet. Finally, she tasted Little Honey's little huckleberry tart, and it was absolutely delicious. Leola gobbled it down right then and there. Oh, I'm so tired, Leola said as she let out a big yawn. I know my grandmama said, never sit down in folks' houses until first being politely asked, but I don't think she'd mind this time. Leola was beginning to feel right at home. First she sat in Papa Honeybear's great big chair, but it was much too hard, and so were his toasted walnuts. Then she sat in Mama Honeybear's middle-sized chair, but it was much too soft, and so were her roasted chestnuts. Finally, Leola sat in Little Honey's little wooden chair. It felt like it was made just for her, and she loved his chocolate-covered pine nuts. She ate every one. Yummy, yum, yum. Before long, Leola had stuffed herself so full of huckleberry tart and chocolate-covered pine nuts that the buttons on her dress began to pull and her tummy began to ache. And then, kaboom! Little Honey's little wooden chair broke all to pieces. Oh my, Leola moaned. I know my grandmama said, never make yourself too comfortable in folks' houses until first being politely asked, but I don't think she'd mind this time. Leola dragged herself up from the floor to look for a place to lie down. At the top of the stairs, Leola found the Honey Bear's bedroom with 3 neatly made beds all in a row. First, she lay down on Papa Honey Bear's great big bed, but it was much too hard. Then, she lay down on Mama Honey Bear's middle-sized bed, but it was much too soft. Finally, she lay down on Little Honey's little bed, and it was just right. Without another yawn, Leola fell fast asleep.